also a trigger warning, I guess, because the stories are not nice, obviously. These are crimes that involve sex, abuse. I don't know why YouTube is so strict. Anyway, so this is the first case. And also I want to mention that I am not even gonna mention all the cases that are in the book. And the book obviously doesn't mention all the cases that have actually been in all these countries. So it's insane. And the first case, it's in Germany, where a man of 21 years old raped a girl of 18, then proceeded to call her his friends, telling them that there is a woman who can be F. 11 men between 19 and 29 years old arrived and for several hours raped her, or provided cover for these rapers. Of the 11, 8 were sentenced to prison between 3 and 4 years. 2 received suspended sentences of 4 to 6 months, and 1 was acquitted. From the 11, 8 were Syrian, 1 Iraqi, 1 Algerian, and 1 German. Now we're just beginning, okay? This is a horrible case, not only for the crime itself, but because the authorities didn't give these people a good punishment, if they gave them a punishment. And like these ones are gonna be many. Okay, another case in Germany. A Somali of 19 years old broke into a retirement home and sexually assaulted, can I say assaulted? A 74 years old woman because he wanted sex. That was his motive. He couldn't resist the urge. Then we have in the city of Cologne on New Year's Eve, on December 31st, 2015, around 1,500 men, which most of them have arrived as asylum seekers from Arab and North African backgrounds. They attacked women by separating them from their husbands and male friends to place them in hell circles, which means that the men groped, it's because I don't know if I can say the words, but anyway, women and girls without any regard of their age. And when the women spoke about the incident and mentioned the ethnicity of these men, they were labeled as racist. In addition, authorities' statement about that evening was, of course, that it was largely peaceful. Like 1,500 men attacked women, and it was largely peaceful. Again, it's a horrible case of the crime itself and of the response of the authorities. Now, we're still in Germany with these cases. A Somali of 17 years old, he was a resident of the asylum facility. He beaten and raped a woman of 43 years old that followed when she was leaving the place, that he followed her when she was leaving the place. Another case, a girl of 16 was leaving the asylum seeker center, and she was raped by 3 Afghan men between the ages of 17 and 27. One of them was a rejected asylum applicant. An Iranian of 29 stabbed to death his ex-girlfriend of 17 for starting a new relationship. The judge who sentenced him commented that he no longer recognized her as an independent personality. In his eyes, she was his. Now we go to France. In France, a Moroccan of 28 whose asylum applicant was rejected in Netherlands and Germany, was convicted for sexually assaulting a girl of 11. He received 6 months in prison. A Sudanese of 26, again still in France, he sexually assaulted a 14 years old girl. Two 14 years old girls in broad daylight on a street Silne Noble near Lille. Now in Sweden, a Somali of 17 followed a girl of 13 into a shopping center bathroom, where he raped her. Days later, called her a fat, disgusting whore. Similar threats were made to another girl he had previously assaulted, and in addition to this, he had numerous defenses such as theft, abusive behavior, is actually harassment, and child rape. He bragged being above the law, and 4 months after his conviction, he was granted a 3-year residence permit. So, I mean, what do you do when authorities don't do nothing to fix this? And like, I mean, for me, it's like unbelievable to think that someone with so many like criminal records, some even lesser than what he actually did, you know, like the main one that angers me the most, and still he got a residence permit of 3 years, like just so that you can understand why people are angry. I mean, especially obviously the victims. Like, so some of these predators target vulnerable girls who are alone at night, who are young and still insecure. Others choose to attack for the simple fact that they have an urge. Now, they don't show remorse at any moment. I am not gonna be going on the specific cases in which they didn't show remorse during the court. If you want to know the specific cases, go and read the book. But they didn't show any remorse, not during the crime, because at times some of these men, the ones that actually went to jail, it's because they took selfies and videos of their actions, just so that you see how like sick these people are, these predators, because they are below people. Now, they also don't show remorse in the court, and some of their statements have been, at least in one particular case, it was like, I'm quoting directly, "That's just a woman." The perpetrators view their victims as worthless objects that they could actually misused and cast aside. A perpetrator even recited the Quran while he was beating his victim. Now, these are again just a handful, a very small list of the cases that have been. And even right now, I went only from different European countries, not even mentioning UK at this point. The commonalities of these predators are like that they come from a Muslim majority countries, that they are young men, that they are strangers to the victim. And this is important to mention because women in general tend to experience, like the violence they experience, it's more of it comes more often from partners or ex-partners, or people that they actually know. In these cases, they have been strangers, which is more as in opportunistic attacks, and moments where they are like either alone, drunk, or incapacitated. Needless to say that it doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man, a child, an old person, an adult person, as like it really doesn't matter if they are alone in the middle of the night, drunk, and even without clothes. No one has the right to actually do something to them. I would assume this is like common sense. So anyway, obviously these predators could go after these people, but my point is also that authorities should never victim blame. Then the majority of women, okay, the targets of these predators, the majority of women were white women, but girls in asylum centers as young as 9 years old suffered from sexual assault. Then we go with some more statistics. In Denmark, the offenses, the sexual offenses, the offenses doubled from 2015 to 2017. Again, this is relevant because as we saw previously, the biggest amount of illegal immigrants came in 2015, 1.8 million. So the offenses doubled in Sweden from 2015 to 2017. In England and Wales, rapes increased by 48% and 33% of sexual assaults from 2015 to 2017. In France, rapes increased 17% and 20% in other forms of sexual violence between 2017 and 2018. In Germany, rape and sexual coercion cases increased after 2015, reaching a 41% increase in 2017. I will be also showing the statistics of this somewhere. Okay, and now we go to other statistics that are very relevant. Rape committed by strangers in the UK is 13%. In Germany is 20%. In Denmark, 32%. Now, health, well-being, and personal safety statistics, and it's important to mention that this is a conservative minimum, is that strangers made up for 19.5% of physical violence, 14.5% for sexual abuse. Germany ranking top for physical violence against women. Prostitutes, prisoners, and female refugees experience physical and sexual abuse at a higher rate. I mean, they are even more vulnerable because obviously these people are just gonna go after vulnerable people. Okay, now what is important to mention of all this is that it's the disproportion what makes it so worrisome, and what it may, as in not even just worrisome, but what it is required action, because you can make, like, you can act directly to solve this problem if you know from where it is coming, which we know. The only problem, I mean, actually there are several problems, but one of the main problems is that no one wants to talk about it. How are you gonna solve it if you don't want to talk about it?